somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.
Hey, what's going on, YouTube? What's going on? All right. So, brand new. We're doing it a little bit different. We're going to be doing live streams on YouTube now. People have asked me, can we do it differently? Getting it on the Zoom. It's hard to on their phones, on their computers, different things. So, we're going to try something. Start doing the big three on Tuesdays, right around 8 o'clock, if I can do it. This week, no different. I think this is the third week in a row. Each week, I'm, talking about different topics that I run into. Other coaches, we'll talk. We'll figure something out, and it'll just pop into my head and say, hey, you know what? This might be something other people are thinking about. This might be something that other people have questions about. So, with that being said, this week, talking to some different coaches around the country. We're all in that same boat right now as far as tryout season. It depends on sort of your location, where you're at. Fall season, spring season, summer season. I mean, it seems like there's just one big season anymore. When we play, say we play, a big national, schedule. So our season has got to be lined up with the other teams that are going to be playing a big time national schedule. So, you want to do tryouts in the spring so we can get stuff locked in for the summer. And when the summer kicks off, there's about 6, 8, 10 weeks where, man, it's a grind. You're going from Colorado to California to Texas to Florida and all the states in between, chasing that competition. So right now we're kind of coming off of that national season, that summer season, where you got a lot of girls now that are going into college. So we got to fill those spots. Girls, they just finished up their last, travel season, 18U, and we got to bring some arms in. We got to replace some bats. So we're going to talk about tryouts in two parts. We're going to talk about it from the coaching standpoint, and then we're going to jump into parent and player standpoint, two different sides of the coin there. So as a coach, you're always looking to improve, whether it's a player or maybe a combination of players. Maybe a player is transitioning to catcher or from a catcher. Third base lends itself well, first base, right field for a catcher. Maybe you've got someone that's picked up some speed and she's been working her butt off and now she's a slapper. So, she's hitting from the left side and she's going to move to the top of the lineup, or maybe down there at the bottom have, that 9-hole, 10-hole hitter. So you got to kind of assess where you're at. There's always attrition. That's what, makes the sport great. Your team gets better through attrition. So we've all been there in that situation as coaches where we lose players. But there's always another player. You never know the situation of why, this player has to leave, wants to leave. They could be looking at greener grass. They could be looking at travel. Mom and daddy could have changed jobs. They could have moved across town. So there's always reasons behind why players are leaving. At the same time, you got more players coming in as well. So there's always, someone looking for a team, looking for a change. So how you promote your tryouts, a lot of it's word of mouth. And now with social media, we put it out there. We're on Twitter, Facebook's a big one, Instagram, TikTok. So there's all kind of ways to promote what you're doing. As coaches, we got to be very careful in how we sell ourselves and our team. We don't want to shoot over the moon here and promise a whole bunch of stuff and not be able to fulfill that. Meaning, you talk about we play a national schedule. Okay. What do you mean you play a national schedule? You only play national tournaments? You travel out of state? Like, what's your definition of that? So make sure there's some clarity there between you and that parent and that player, of making sure we're not overselling and under-delivering. On the same side, don't sell yourself short. Meaning, hey, we're pretty good. We've won a couple of championships, this and that, and you're actually competing one of the top teams in the age group for the state. Now, when you start talking about one of the top teams in the state, if you only play one or two sanctions, and you don't really see but a few teams, and you hear things about other teams, and you haven't played them or you haven't seen them, or be careful of how we promote ourselves and saying we're the best or we're the top. There's a bunch of top teams. So, understanding that parents, they want to hear that they want to go to a good team. That I don't want to say uneducated on it. They just need to educate themselves a little bit more, understanding that it's not about wins and losses, especially if we're talking 10s, 12s, 14s. It's not about wins and losses. At the end of the day, it's about the practice, it's about the preparation, it's about the development. So when we're talking tryouts and we're looking for something, we need to see, do they fit what we have right now? And are we looking, can we grow with her? Can she grow with us? I mean, what are we talking about as far as, what positions? Are we promising a position? Hey, you're going to come in and you're going to play third right away. Well, what are you doing to your third baseman that's already been there with you? Are you moving her too? What's going on? A big thing that I've seen work very successfully is have them come into a couple of workouts, and don't put it out there as hey, you're coming to try out, because that puts something on that player. That puts a lot of pressure on that player. Have the team, as a coach, let the team know, hey, we're bringing a couple in. We got a small, just a team tryout here. Make them feel welcome. Let's kind of show them how we do things. And if you're in that situation, have them guest play with you. Have them come. Or if they're not going to guest play, let them know, hey, we're playing next weekend in Nashville. Come watch us. And foot the bill for them. So split the bill. Do something. Let them get there. Let them be a part of the team. Kind of let them see the atmosphere. Because as coaches, we may not realize it, but we're not the same 100% of the time in the practice field and in the game time. We're just not. And neither are the players, and that's fine. That's how it is. That's life. That's the way it is. So we want to be able to see them interacting with that player. And if we can get them to play with us, maybe a scrimmage, maybe a friendly, something like that, then we can kind of get her spun up real quick on how we warm up. This is our routine. This is us. This is kind of how, if we're rotating players, or if we're this is what I'm doing with my pitchers. This one usually starts the first game. We like to get her going early in the morning to see, what we've got. If we need this pitcher, this one's going to come in later. And you're able to show her what your philosophy is so she understands that. And you're able to get some personality out of her too. Okay? Then we can go from there. There's an assessment. Don't just let that player wow you one time at a tryout, hitting nukes, throwing 60 and all this stuff. Let it run its course and see if it's fit in. Talk to the other people involved there. Talk to some of the other coaches. Talk to the players and see what kind of reaction they got from her. It's tough. Put yourself in that player's shoes getting out there into a tryout, and I don't care. Maybe just some girls can go out there and act like it's no big deal. But, a tryout is tough mentally. It's daunting physically too, but mentally it's tough. So with that, let's go to the player side of it and talk about the parents too. We need to do our research on where we're going, what we're looking for. We don't want to sell ourselves too high. We don't want to jump out there and say, I got this stud, she pitches, she's a bracket pitcher, this and that. Or I got this stud, this is her pop time. And we know that it's not there. Or we just use these, trigger words, or these wow words that I call it, that we think the coach wants to hear, but then when they get there, you kind of oversold them a little bit. So we're really not doing our kid any justice by doing that. I always want to sell low. Tell them, give them the honest truth. Have them compete there, for that tryout. So when we're looking at where we want to go, who we want to play with, what tryouts we're looking at, let's look at distance first. Can you see making 1 or 2 practices a week during the week if that's the case? Can you see yourself, if you're not playing that weekend, having a long practice that weekend? How far is that distance? How are you going to be able to do that? Mom and daddy work schedules. Guardianship is a big deal when it comes to travel. A lot of successful teams, they may only practice once every month or two together, but they're getting their work in. There's, different girls are getting together, infield's getting together, they live close by, catchers and pitchers are getting together, they link up when the pitcher has their lessons and this and that. So it's not always feasible for a team to have practice. Is that something that you and your daughter can get with? Meaning, does your kid need that structured practice to continue to develop? And do you need that warm and fuzzy of being at a team practice? You know what I'm saying? Is that something that you need to continue and develop and with a team? Now from there, what positions are we looking at here? Is it, I'm looking for a first baseman, or I'm looking for a catcher, but I'm open to anything? Is that, is this the team that you want to go for? They're looking for a straight utility player. I need you to be able to play 3 or 4 positions because, I've got it. When I start moving girls around different positions, I got a couple of different pitchers that I work with. I'm running a light roster. I need you to be able to come in and fill in. I've seen that work many times. A player, she might play third, she might play first, she might go to right. She might catch, she might sit. So we need to look at rosters as well. Kind of when you go to that tryout, do a little bit, kind of look around, see who's playing, see where we're at, who all's here. And look, in your area, you're playing the same teams, the same tournament. So people talk. I don't want to go as far as saying, ask somebody, because they're going to give you their opinion before they give you the true answer. 9 times out of 10. They can be your best buddy. And if they don't want you to go there, or if they do want you to go there, they're going to lean their opinion one way or the other. That's just, unfortunately, that's how it is. So, with that, make sure we know what we're doing as far as where we're going, and is it fitting within our means of what we're trying to do. Cost. Okay, that's another big word, cost, that goes into it. There are some organizations that cost a bunch and get nothing. You just wear the name. There are some organizations that cost a bunch and you get a bunch. It's whatever you can fit into your budget, and is it worth? You getting enough bang for your buck on this? There's some big time organizations. They run almost like a school online. A bunch of training, a bunch of videos, almost like lessons. Study guides and stuff like that. How much fundraising is involved? How much out of pocket is going on? So there's a lot of things. It's not just showing up and I made the team. Did you make a team that you really wanted to try for, or are you just keeping up with the Joneses? So with the tryouts, coaches, make sure we're not overselling, and make sure we're getting the right pieces. Don't string somebody along. And players and parents, let's do our research. Let's figure out, is this where we want to be? And can I keep up with it as far as the cost that goes into it and the schedule? Because there are a lot of teams that play 3 weekends out of a month. There are other teams that only play maybe once or twice out of a month, depending on the level of schedule that they're playing. You're not going to, most of the time, you're not going to have a team that plays a whopping national schedule 6-8 weeks out of the summer. They're constantly gone. And then the springtime before that, they're playing every single weekend. And then the fall time after that, they're playing every single weekend. I mean, you got to have both parents retired, single kid, hit the lottery, just to be able to the time and the money to keep up with all that, and then have a team that can do that as well. So, I mean, it's not a perfect world in the travel game. I mean, the coaches, they'll tell you, all the coaches, it's hard because they got to schedule a practice when they're available. And they've also got to schedule a practice when the players are available. So there is a little bit of wiggle room there. How much wiggle room? It depends on the situation. So that's something that you talk about. I mean, when you go to a tryout, they're trying out your kid. You're also trying out, maybe the parents that are around there. See what kind of, personalities are there. Do you see yourself fitting in there Saturday morning early and then Sunday nights late, leaving out of there? I mean, it's not just a kid making a team anymore. Unfortunately, that's just not the way it is anymore. All right. So with that, we'll jump over into priorities. Juggling the priorities that we got. We're getting back into school in this area. Some schools have already been back. Some schools go year round. Other ones are coming real quick here in the next 2-3 weeks, something like that. So going off of that summer schedule, leaning into the fall, everything kind of slowing down a little bit. Schoolwork's got to be priority number one. This is a great time to let the body recover. This is a great time to maybe take a week or two and just don't pick up a ball. Don't swing a bat. Let's lock in. Let's get firm on the schoolwork, our new schedule, our new bus route, what time we're getting home, what time's mom and daddy getting us from school. I got new homework and might be going to a new school. Siblings are going to school, so there's a lot moving on to bigger and better things. Might be going from elementary to high or to middle school and then to high school. So there's a lot in their mind. I mean, think of our student athletes here as very, very impressionable right now, and we got to think about the stress level that they're put under. We don't ever want to overdo it, and right now we're adding something. They've gone from not really doing a whole lot to now they've got schoolwork and they're still trying to keep up with that practice schedule. They might have hitting lessons Tuesday nights, then they got pitching on Wednesday, they got strength and conditioning on Thursday. Where's homework work coming in on that? Where's study time coming in on that? So we need to prioritize now and help teach them that as they get a little bit older, because their schedule's just going to get fuller. When they get into college or trade school or whatever, working, maybe some extracurricular stuff. Maybe they do make it and play some softball in college, D3, D2, D1, whatever. What's their summer schedule like? Probably relaxed. But then, boom, they hit, fall. And then in the springtime, they got they got ball and school. So helping them now understanding what comes first, it's tough. Put yourself in those shoes, adding something to it. You're going to be stressed out now because you got the kids' schedule, you got their practice schedule. Susie's got ballet, Bobby's got wrestling, Janet's got softball, and then we got to figure out when we're going to eat, this kind of stuff. So take a moment. This is just my warning right now. This is kind of like a call to action, I guess. Do like a self-audit. Let's get the priorities in order now so that we can have a successful start to our school year and then continue to develop as ball players down the road. Just setting our priorities right. Moving from that, we're going to talk about playing multiple sports, a multi-sport athlete. Just going off of the NFL, the draft this past year, there was a ton of first round. I think there's 32 different teams, or at least 32 picks were made. There's 32 teams in the NFL, but I think 28 or 29 were high school, and if not college, multiple sport athletes. Sorry. So what that means is they're not just focusing on and specializing on one sport. I know growing up, I was into baseball, basketball, football, and wrestling. And as I got older, stuff started to fall off. I didn't specialize, I think until my freshman year of high school. And I wasn't going to college. I wasn't going to go to college and wrestle. I went the Marine Corps route. Recruiter told me I could wrestle in the Marine Corps. I never stepped on a mat again. Okay, so, but look, there's nothing wrong with running track, running cross country. That's your multiple sport. Keeps you in condition. You don't have to get in shape if you stay in shape. You got baseball players that play football. You got soccer. You got football. You got baseball. You got basketball. You got tennis. You've got something else. And if nothing more, it triggers different things in our mind. It's different sensories that we get to utilize and go through and get triggered when we doing maybe a sport with our hands like basketball and we're running, but then we have something like soccer. It just makes us a more well-rounded athlete. A lot of linemen in football, they do ballet or they'll do wrestling. Wrestling is a big-time sport. MMA, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. Those are real deal, life-changing sports that teach the individual a lot about themselves, a lot about hard work. I've always said that there's no practice like a wrestling practice. I know this is a softball thing, but there's no practice like a wrestling practice. I can assure you. When you do other sports like cross country and you're able to run, you're able to stay in shape, able to work on your speed. If you do track, there's track infield. There's other things. A lot of girls like to play volleyball and softball. Those two balance, really well. You get some, almost opposite type muscle groups that we focus on, especially pitchers. We got to let that pitcher get that shoulder, their back, their elbow, there's a lot of torque on that. And if we do that 9-10 months out of the year and we just never stop our pitching lessons, man, you don't have a career very long. What's happening to our athletes is when they get into college is their bodies are broke down. So they're not able to perform right away because they focused on one sport. They played it 10 months out of the year, 11 months out of the year, and they never got a chance to let their bodies fully recover. So if we've got an injury from softball, from overworking our arm, overthrowing, we got to learn how to rehab that. So as we're rehabbing that, we can stay in shape while we're playing a different sport. Playing sports for your high school when you get to that age group, or if you're in one of those states where you can play ball for your middle school or your junior high school, it gives you a sense of community. So there's a lot of different things that, we could jump down a rabbit hole and just go on all night about playing multiple sports. Don't specialize right now. It's not worth it. Let the kids have fun. You don't have to play another sport. I play golf. That's it. That's my only sport. Okay, fine. We'll put the clubs down every once in a while. We don't have to go constant. It doesn't have to be an addiction. You can continue to develop your mind in other ways. You can develop, coordination, speed and agility and stuff like that. But every once in a while, let them be kids. Let them go climb a tree. It doesn't have to be. You're not keeping up with the Wright Joneses if they're constantly having to play softball or do something softball related. It's just the amount of athletes that I hear about that by the time they get to their freshman year, that they can barely get onto the field because their injuries are finally getting looked at and they're getting the right treatment. Stress fractures and ligaments, cartilage damage. There's a lot of stuff that the athletes are going through that we're pushing them through because they want to win that state title or win that national championship, and which is 100% go for it. But at the same time, along the way, we can do it the right way so we can be even more prepared. So as I wrap up this edition of the Big Three, I'll take a look and see if there's any questions in the chat. If you got any questions, drop them over into the chat. Let me know. We can get into it. Today I had a great conversation with Scott Woodcock out of University of Maine. I didn't know this, but University of Maine is the only Division I school in the state of Maine, which is pretty cool. It's cool to be that. And one of the topics that we talked about was playing year round, wearing the kids out when they get to Scott or they get to these other schools, just how burnt out the kid is from playing. So tonight when we were doing this, I wanted to make sure that I was able to stress that to you guys as well, that we don't have to play it all the time. There's more important things in life than softball. You can ask any softball player that's at college now or moved on from it, maybe playing professionally. Don't take it so serious. These college years, they come and go quick, and you only get to go to college once and be a student athlete. So when you go to college, it's not just a 4-year thing anymore. It's a 4 or 5 year thing, but it impacts the rest of your life. You're talking 40 years. It's a 40-year decision versus a 4-year decision. So if you sabotage that now, say your junior year of high school ball, because you didn't let your body recover, or your coach didn't let your body recover, and you overworked it. Now you had surgery. You're missing your junior year. You're going to come back halfway through your senior year. You've really, really hurt yourself. There's an issue. So don't blow your chance before you get that chance. Setting your priorities right, taking care of your body, taking care of your schoolwork. That's the big thing. So the big message from the Big Three: do your research. We'll end it on. Let's do the research. Whether we're trying to find a team, the right team, coaches with the tryouts, do your research on the player. Find out where they came from. What type of person they are. What's the reason behind their move? Are they mad at another team or another coach over playing time or this or that? What's the reason for the move? You need to do your due diligence as well. This time of year, let's buckle down and let's make sure our schoolwork is in order. Let's get off on the right foot. We don't want to get behind. So right now, it's a good time to just hit the reset button. Let's jump on our schoolwork like we're supposed to. And it don't have to be another sport, but pick up a new hobby. Put the bat and the ball down every once in a while. Pick up something else. Go skip rocks. Go play badminton, volleyball. I don't know, squash. They still got squash? Is that something? Is that a new thing? I don't know. So, all right, I'm going to take a look over in chat. If I don't have any questions over in chat, I will go ahead and end this. It's been pretty good. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. It helps out the channel. You hit that like button. It helps out the channel. This stuff in the future, you'll get the notifications. Turn them on so you'll get these Big Threes when they pop up. I'm going to try to run them Tuesday nights around 8 o'clock East Coast time. And then the DVR, the VOD, the video on demand, will come up shortly after the stream is over with. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.